All right, coming to you live from Los Angeles and the Open Source Summit. I'm here with Harish Pillay. Harish, how are you?
I'm very good.
So you're with Red Hat. What do you do for Red Hat?
Yes, I'm with Red Hat. I do stuff with three broad areas. One is with the open source community engagement, and the second one is around engagements at CXO levels to talk about conversations around open source, open standards for companies and corporates and enterprises. And the third one is around the same space but for the public sector. So around public policy, building standards and technology deployment, and when they have to do acquisition of technologies for whatever it is that the public sector needs to do, whether it's government or schools or academia or whatever. Making sure that they go down the path of using open source technology because it empowers them more. But a lot of times the challenge is that they don't fully appreciate it and not having enough exposure from the open source community to them, and therefore I always see myself as a person trying to help explain the story to them so that then they can make their decision in a very objective manner rather than hearsay or something of that nature.
So speaking of open source, we switched to OpenShift.
Yeah.
That's sort of I remember you had a path for a platform before which had more Red Hat specific types of containers, and then now you've gone much more with industry standard. So where is OpenShift today?
OpenShift has been kind of rebranded in some sense to be called as a platform as a container as a service. This is why I love the organization I'm with Red Hat. We make a decision on a technology based on what was best at that point in time. When OpenShift was first launched, it was built on something called cartridges and stuff like that. It was non-standard in the sense it's not industry standard. But when the idea of containers came along, it made a lot more sense. So you know what? We just changed course. We bet our entire OpenShift business on the idea of a container and how to make that work best. And along with that, how to manage it with Kubernetes and all the necessary tools that make sense so that this can be deployed in a manner that makes it easy for organizations to consume across the board, whether you're running in a data center, your private cloud, the public cloud, and a hybrid. I don't care where you're running, you have the same flavor running across the board. And so that makes the entire conversation around technology adoption, technology improvement, innovation much easier to understand and to be seen in action instead of something that's delivered 6 months later, a year later, you can deliver it in 2 weeks' time. So that changes the dynamics, and so containers become the core aspect behind it, and putting on OpenShift makes tremendous sense.
And so to what extent can you sort of substitute things out? If you wanted to use Docker or CoreOS or Kubernetes or Swarm, what comes with it and what might you be able to change?
I think the important question is, are we following standards? If any of the substitutions are following standards, why not? If it's following OCI, Open Container Initiative standards, why not? We are not saying that you cannot swap things out or have a mix. By all means, do what is best for you. But whatever you do, we want to make sure that you do it in a manner that does not lock you in. Vendor lock-in has got a brand new set of opportunities for it to happen, and we want to try and minimize it or remove it as much as we can. And so if you want to put in Docker containers, by all means, because it's a container. If it follows a container standard, which I think they do, by all means, please do that. But we are not saying that they are excluded in any sense. No, please put that in there.
So, and then just to wrap up with, going forward, where do you see OpenShift? What are some of the plans that you have?
OpenShift, one of the things that we're looking at OpenShift is to make it more widely usable in as many cloud platforms as possible, so that it's cloud agnostic. So cloud service providers like Amazon and Google and Azure. Now, if there's a third or fourth or fifth service provider, we want to make sure we enable them so that allows our customers to go across any platform. It doesn't matter where they are, so that they can leverage on costs, on locality issues, on other kinds of considerations that they may have from a corporate requirement. It could be compliance, it could be regulatory requirements, and so on. So that's what we are working on towards for OpenShift. But there's a lot more things in the OpenShift space that needs to be evolved as well. A lot more stuff in terms of running it on your local machine. What else can you do with it? I mean, it is for the entire community to help us build that opportunity.
Awesome. Harish Pillay, thanks so much.